finish it Friday. I'm stitching it my way. Just wanna be sitting with needles and knitting. Hello, hello. Yes, that's right. We made it to another Finish It Friday. Yay. That's right. Yay for you and yay for me, right? So say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and what your latest FO finished object is. It could be a knitting project, it could be a crochet project, it could just be your presentation at work, right? Sometimes we're just happy we made it through the end of the week and we're here to complain about it, right? We're not always here to brag about it. Sometimes we're here to complain about it. So, anyways, today's FO finished object you've seen on the channel. You've seen it on a Mondays with May, a Whip Wednesday while I was knitting the top part. You've seen it for a demo on casting on, and I did a whole little tutorial on teaching you how to do the bottom part, how to take this pattern. If you don't know yet, if for some reason you are new to my channel, hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, completely colorblind, really mostly knit and crochet by feel. And so when I've been learning to crochet over this last year, I am loving these YouTube tutorials with people who can really talk me through them, right? Use their words. And so Crystal at Bag O' Day, I found her. She's one of the teachers I can really learn from. So I did her shawl here. This is her, I believe she calls it Love of My Life shawl. And so while I was working on that, I was like, ooh, that would look so good on a knit skirt. Yeah, and so then of course I had to do the math, right? And I made the shawl in the Knit Picks We Crochet Hawthorne DK in the color Astoria Tonal. If you're colorblind like me, it's blues and grays. So I went about doing the math, and then I was like, I gotta make a skirt. So I set about, once I figured out the math, and made myself a skirt, a matching skirt to go with my shawl in the Astoria Tonal. And, I didn't have a name for this for a long time. How about skirting the waves? I think that's what we're going to call this, skirting the waves, because I intentionally chose the Astoria Tonal. That's a beach coastal town in Oregon that I visited, because these peaks on here, it really reminded me of waves. And so this is why it really had a beachy vibe to me. Now, of course, it could be anything to you, right? I want people to feel like you can make this skirt in any color you want, right? But to me, it's got the beachy vibe of waves. Now, this is a 80% superwash Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And I don't mind wearing wool in the summertime because it's a breathable fiber, especially on the coast. Our Oregon and Washington coast, if you don't know yet, I live in Washington State. It can still be breezy and chilly. Like July and August can be warm, but June, September, it can still be a little breezy and chilly. So I don't mind a wool skirt, but I still was like, I wonder what that would be like in like a cotton blend, right? And so one of my favorite summer yarns to work with, I wanted to do the same weight. Now you could do it in a different weight of yarn, but I did want to do the same weight, is cotlin, also from Knit Picks and We Crochet, and that is a 70% Tanguise cotton and 30% linen. So that's what I set out to do, and I wanted to give it the same beach colored theme. So I went with blues, but like I say, this could represent anything to you, but I wanted to stick with blues. So my top color is I just feel like now I am colorblind, but I feel like the coast is like, it is mostly blues and grays up here in the Pacific Northwest. The Astoria Tonal is very representative of the coast in Washington and in Oregon. It's like, gray skies and then some blue of the water and some blue sky in between. But I went with the Nightfall, which is probably more like the night sky a bluish purple, and then we went with a color called Harbor, which is sort of a blue-green. I really want this to be a fade too, and then I ended with Indigo Bunting, which I think is just kind of a medium blue. Um, Now here's the thing too with this, right? I mean, I think today's Finish It Friday comes with a big question mark because we got a couple of questions. Is this finished? Because this is crochet at the bottom, which means it's not like knitting, right? You finish a knitting project, you bind off. If you want to add on to it, I mean, you can pick up from your bind off at work, but you still got to pick up every stitch, or you might even have to unravel the bind off. Yikes. So, but with crochet is so easy. Like, if I wanted to add a fourth color to this, I could get like the cotlin comes in like I think 5 or 6 different shades of blue. Like there's more blues, okay? I have another shade of blue that's even darker called Planetarium in my house. I almost started with that at the top and did 4. But there's some lighter blues, there's a hydrangea, there's a beach glass. Like we could actually get another blue, stick our crochet hook in and just keep going with this thing. So I think I'm gonna be content with it and not do that. But I am tempted. So I'd love to hear from you. Do you think we need to add a 4th color onto this? Do you think we need some beach glass or some hydrangea on the bottom? And what do you think about the fade? I like the fade. And I don't know, as somebody who's colorblind, I think I did pretty good picking out my colors. I'd love to hear from somebody who's not colorblind on if the blues look okay, if they say beach vibe to you. Because that's what I was going for. So my other things, I do love the thickness. They're both DK weight yarns. I love the thickness of the hawthorn and the wool. And I feel like I can comfortably wear that like, you know, just a skirt, right? Just underwear underneath my skirt. But the cotlin, even though they're both DK, it does seem to be a little bit more see-through, right? It does. And so I'm debating on do I need to sew a liner into it? I actually have the blue fabric. I do. So now I don't sew really like on my own. I did a whole video on my tote bag that my sister helped me with. But I do have a blue fabric. I mean, should we be putting this blue fabric? I don't even know if I can cut it straight. Got no idea if I can cut it straight or not and, you know, figure out how to sew it. So part of me is like, maybe it needs a liner, right? Maybe I need to put a liner in my skirt. I'm thinking that's a pretty good blue for it. The other thing, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just buy like a navy blue half slip. I mean, that's something I talked to my mom about. And my mom even offered to buy me one, so that's a possibility. My sister and I talked about it, and she's like, just wear navy blue tights underneath it. And you know, I think at this point, I wanted to have this done for this summer. I mean, you know, it's September. So, I think at this point, I probably would just wear it at least for this year with navy blue tights underneath it. And, you know, maybe by next summer when it rolls around, I can, you know, recontemplate possibly sewing. And hey, my sister will be back next summer. So, you know, she can always look at it. I don't think a liner for this would be super complicated. Because I don't need to line the whole thing. Like, I don't need to line the bottom part. We just need like a square, you know, to go from like the waistband to, you know, a little waist. So we just need like a square of 2 squares of fabric, 2 rectangles of fabric, whatever, and then, you know, sew each side together, and then I can hand stitch it like I did with the tote bag into the waist. I do sew my own waistband, and I do that because I create this tactile fold. I've talked about that numerous times, right? So this Finish It Friday does come with a question mark because we have 2 possible reasons why this project isn't finished. It could possibly get a liner, and it might need more. It might need more on the bottom. You could make this as long as you want, right? Oh my gosh. So, the one thing I will say, besides the fact that the fabric is definitely a lighter fabric, is it does seem, right now, it is puckering just a little bit. The one thing you'll notice is that compared to Crystal's shawl, right, where you work your decreases, this is worked flat, right? and so you've got your decreases here. When you work it in the round, your decreases will spiral, right? Because that's just the nature of working in the round. And so they're not stacking really per se. And so you'll see that your decreases do kind of spiral a little bit. Uh, so, um, so what was I going to say about that? So, it puckers just a little bit. Now, when I laid it out flat on the bed, when I wear it, like you literally, it doesn't, you don't even notice. In fact, I think it kind of adds to the flare, so I'm not bothered by it. But if you do make it in the cotlin, it does pucker a little bit in the decreases. But I haven't blocked it, and I don't think I'm going to block it because I don't mind wearing it like this. Once you wear it, like the pucker disappears. It just kind of it's flowy. It's a flowy skirt, right? It's intended to be like a fluttery, flowy, billowy, wavy skirt. It's not supposed to be like tight. It's supposed to have some flutter to it. So I don't really think that the puckers are an issue. Once it's on my body, it does pucker a little bit there. But it really isn't an issue once you have it on. That said, if for some reason, if somebody wanted to make this and that bothered you, I have not blocked this. And I honestly think, like, I stretched it out on the bed. I had it and I stretched it and pulled it. So you could absolutely, and it pulls the pucker out. So if that bothers you, you could definitely wash it and block it, right? You could absolutely block it so that you're not seeing all of that, and it would pull it out for sure. So that's something to consider. But once it's on my person, at least, you don't even see that. Like, you don't notice that at all. And when I did the video talking about how I do the increases, how I do the shaping, I talked about how I did my shaping on my hips, right, for this. So feel free to, I started out with 112 stitches around my waist. So I work on 2 circulars, so 56 stitches, and then I add stitches in for the increase. So I increased all the way from 56 stitches on each needle to 72, and there was still room before I started my lace. And you can start your crochet wherever you want on your skirt, right? That's just where I felt comfortable having the crochet, but you could certainly start it up higher if you wanted to. You could add more increases in it for your hips and your bottom, that kind of a thing. If you just need more room on the back, you could certainly do some short rows on the bottom. And the other thing I want to talk to people about is I tend to, with my skirts, just do, like, I increase 4 stitches every round. I tend to, where I do front and back, 1 on each side. So 1 here on the front, and then on the back, basically. So when I do my hip increases, I increase 4 stitches per time. And then I did it every 4 rows. So depending on your shape, you could spread those out further, right? So if you didn't want every 4 rows, you could do every 6 or every 8 and spread it out more. And the other thing that you can do is, if you need a lot more difference between your waist and your like your hips, if you need a lot more stitches, you can increase more than 4 stitches around. If you don't just need short rows on the bottom, you can actually put in increases in the body of the skirt, and you can use a different increase. I use knit one through the front and the back. Yes, it's a little bit visible. It's not the most invisible decrease, but it doesn't bother me. I feel like, like a manufactured garment has like side seams, so it doesn't really bother me to have like a little bit of a seam going on the side. But there are other increases you can use. You can use lifted increases. You can do make one left, make one right. I'm not very good at those, so I tend not to use them. But you can also add increase points in the body of your skirt and just space them out, right? So like this has 56 stitches on each side. So I'm trying to do the math on that. But you could do like an increase after, you could separate your 56 stitches or whatever your number is for your each side, right, into roughly even thirds. It doesn't have to be perfectly even thirds, but roughly even thirds. So trying to think, 56, you could have like 20 and then 36. What would 36 divided by 2 be? Like 18, I think. 18, right? So you could do like 18, 18, and 20 in the middle, and you could take that stitch on each side of your 20 middle stitches, right? You could have 18, 18, put stitch markers and have 20 in the middle, and you could do an increase point there too, where you take that middle stitch between, so basically you'd have 18, basically what you'd have 18, 18, 18, and then you'd have like a stitch that you could mark in between those 8 sections of 18, right? Because 18 times 3 is 54. So I have 56 here. So I could basically have 3 portions of 18, and then I'd have my other 2 stitches, right, that I could count as middle stitches in between those 3 sections, and I could use those stitches as increase points, or I could do a knit one through the front and the back loop on each side of those midpoint stitches that divide up my 3 sections 18. So if you want to, so you could do 2 more increases and then 2 more increases. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then on the other side that'd be 12. So you can increase your skirt by like 12 stitches per round if you need to, for whatever your body type is, or your style, or your preference, or whatever. That's one of the things I love about knitting skirts, is I feel like you can tailor them to your body, right? Like to me, it's like, you know what, if you want to add 12 more stitches per round between your waist, if you need from your waist, and you need a lot more stitches to go around your hips, you can do that, right? I do have a skirt where I did not increase on the hips. I just used my center points as my increase points, and I increased 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So instead of 12, 4 or 12, I just used my 2 midpoints, and I increased 8 stitches per round. And I don't know where that skirt is at. I made it before I had a YouTube channel. But there's all kinds of ways that you can divide up a skirt or a top or whatever. Like if you work circular stuff in the round, you probably see different lace patterns where people work the increases within the lace patterns. There's all kinds of ways that you can do that. So just know that with skirts, right, just because you see mine, you're like, well, I'm not built like her or whatever, you can do more or you can do less, right? Because I did my increase points every 4 rounds. If you don't have hips as wide as mine, right, I totally get that some people don't have the hips that I have, then you might only need to increase like every 6 or every 8, right, and have fewer increases. So that's always an option. And in my video where I showed you how to do the crochet and how to do the shaping on that, I discussed how you could continue, how you could do that out. Basically, as long as you have, you know, your even number, and then you divide it by your 6 sections. I explained that in that video. So that's my FO for the week. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know, do the blues match? Was it a good choice? Do you like it? Which one do you like better, the cotlin or the Hawthorne DK? I'm struggling to pick a favorite. Like, I really love the one in the Hawthorne DK, except I totally was honest, like the color pooling with the dark blue there, I wasn't super thrilled with, but that's the nature of tonal yarns. Did a whole video on that, right? So I don't know if I have a favorite. Love the cotlin, except for the fact that it's a little more see-through than I like, but navy tights this fall are my friend. So okay, well, I really hope everyone out there is doing well. I hope you're healthy, you're safe, you're enjoying yourself. Let me know what your weekend plans. If you haven't had time to craft, because life be lifing, that is okay. Are you sleeping? Are you cleaning? Are you doing some housework? Yeah, you're getting back into, like, you know, fall, winter routines with the fam. I don't know, but let me know and have a great weekend. Hope you get some crafting in, whatever it is that you need to recharge yourself for your upcoming week, right? Find time in your weekend to do the things that really recharge you. Like sometimes we need sleep to recharge us, but sometimes we just need the things that fill us up, right? The things that bring us joy, the things that fill us up. Our crafting is a way that we can do things for others and give and make nice gifts. So whatever it is that you get for your crafting, or whatever it is that you need to help yourself, prepare yourself for your next week, I really hope that you get it. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening. And you know what I like to say, creativity is for everybody. Whether you see or you see like me or you don't see at all, creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye-bye for now. Can you see it well enough with the other light on? I don't know. Let me know what you think about having two lights on in here. Does that work better? Should I turn on the overhead light still? You want to see the blues? Okay. Let's do it. Okay, so here's the skirt all laid out for those that need the light. What do you think? Did I make a good choice in choosing my blues? Do these three, this is Nightfall, Harbor, and Indigo Bunting. Do they look good together? You can see here it does pucker just a little bit, but if you block this, if you stretch it and pin it, you could absolutely block that out, and you could pin it back so that the decreases kind of line up more. Mine are kind of spiraling. But you could pin and block this out if you wanted to. I'm not going to bother to. I kind of like the nature of how it hangs. To me, it looks really, it kind of goes with the sort of the waves, right? Like the unevenness of it to me, the shaping of it, it kind of goes with it, that it would have a little bit of that going on. So I'm not going to block it and pin it, but you absolutely could. You could stretch this and block it and get all of that out. So alrighty, well, have a great weekend and happy stitching. Bye-bye for now.